Hello and welcome to part 47 of my Let's Play Final Fantasy X HD collection. If you remember, last time we got to the first Raine's Agency of the game. And it's quite exciting because that means that there is a boss fight coming soon. I'm going to look through the weapons because there's a particular skill set I need for a future boss coming up in a few videos, but they don't have any of the ability that I need. I need Lightning Strike, which allows you to make normal attacks with the lightning element, so that way you do very good against Machina. Oh, and I forgot to say, normally, like I do, but, Ramu and Femme Lucia to my Final Fantasy X Let's Play, Kuno for the Bayun Albed, but I am still learning.
Check it out.
I think this lens flare adds a lot to the scene. It shows that the sun is very bright. Lens flares add a lot, and I'm glad that they exist. And that's why the new Star Trek is my favorite Star Trek, because it makes everything look very bright, because there's lens flares everywhere. J.J. Abrams is a genius when it comes to directing things. And this is a very pretty cutscene. I am glad that it exists because it further delves into the relationship of Titus, or Titus if you prefer, and Yuna. Yuna is almost as good as a character as Aerith, and yes, it is Aerith, not Eris, because that's how the original Japanese intended it.
A new sin will be born anyway.
Well, then you can just beat it
And
again.
here is Titus and Yuna discussing the plot. I really like Yuna's outfit, as I have mentioned before. I really like the kimonos.
Why does sin always come back?
Sin is our punishment for our vanity. And it will not go away
Also,
until
the
we've
fact
atoned.
that Yuna has
How do we do that?
heterochromia is a plot point later on. It
What
will
did we
be
do that was so
discussed
bad in the first
when
place?
we are discussing her
Was it
heritage.
using lots of Machina or something?
There is a character coming up that will show
Wait,
why
is that such a bad
she
thing,
has
really?
heterochromia, and it is not just a genetic
That's
defect
funny.
like it is in real life. It is
Ever since I was young, I
a
never
thing that
questioned it.
happens because of her
But now that you
heritage,
ask
of
me
her
if it is that
Albed
bad or not,
heritage.
I don't know. There are so many things I don't know.
Well, then we're the same. Oh, such thinking is very unbecoming of a summoner. Sound like Micah?
That's not very nice, you know.
As I said before, I really do like this scene because it explores Titus and Yuna's relationship more, and I really think you can see it developing.
During a game, you have to think of Blitz and nothing else, you know?
Oh, and here we see
Okay.
more explanation about Titus's character as well, because he is talking about Blitzball, and as we all know, he enjoys being a Blitzball player, even though he cannot play for the Xanarkand Aves anymore. I plan on playing Blitzball some more in a few upcoming videos. However, right now we cannot recruit anybody good because the Albed, not the Albed Sykes, the
I guess.
Aurochs are very good at later levels, but they are very hard to win with when they are such low-level players such as now.
The final summoning. It's the only way to defeat sin.
They are much like the Onion Knights in that regard, in which they start out very bad. However, if you take the time to develop them and get them to very high levels, then they become almost unstoppable.
That complete their pilgrimage. At the world's edge in Xanarkand.
The Onion Knight is also referenced in this game later on, much later on. You will probably see that in about 300 or 400 parts from now.
You sure it's ruins?
That's what I've heard.
You'll see it for yourself soon enough. Yuna, come back.
And now Auron is showing that he knows much more than what he lets on to know. He is not discussing it openly, however, that is so that the player is left in suspense. I really do enjoy it quite a bit. This game is almost as good as Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII is the best Final Fantasy because the draw system is so intriguing and fun, and it certainly isn't a boring piece of crap that allows you to make the game an unfun, unlosable mess in the very beginning of the game. It is certainly much better than Final Fantasy IX, because Final Fantasy IX was not well thought out, and because all of the characters play differently. What is up with that? Why aren't all of the characters just basically carbon copies of each other, like they were in Final Fantasies VII and VIII? And here you can rest again, although there is no benefit. Oh, and this man is going to give us a level 1 key sphere. We can finally give Kimahri the ability to go further than his small area in the sphere grid. However, it is really not necessary because Kimahri, as I have said before, is not that great a character.
Sorry?
Plus, there is a boss battle coming up in about 100 or 200 videos that will be much easier if Kimahri is lower leveled anyway.
I am Rin, owner of this establishment. Hela Dusadwi.
Huh?
Rin is much better at speaking Albed than I am. However, I did recently buy a Albed to English dictionary off of a rather nice website. I bought it about 3 months ago, and it still hasn't arrived. However, I believe they did not steal my credit card number at all, and I am just simply waiting.
Here, let me give you one in commemoration of our meeting. Although you might want to be careful where you speak.
They are reminding you that the Albed are not well liked around all of Spira.
Yeah, I hear Albed aren't liked much. Sorry.
Here he is saying it is a shame.
Someone help! The Chocobos!
That's
Oh, and now we are about to experience one of my favorite boss battles in the game.
Oh, thank you for your help. Please, use this.
He gives us a few mega potions, but I do not use items in this game because white magic exists, and you get it very early. There is no reason to use any items in this game. I'm saving before this boss fight because there is a special condition for winning that you might be there is a special condition for losing rather, and I do not want to lose and lose out on valuable experience points.
To the Chocobo Corral.
I have said before that I really like Lulu's design, and that is because I really like her boobs. That is why she is almost always in my party, so that way I can stare at her boobs. A nice touch that the high-definition version of this game has added is that you can see the chocobo feathers in the chocobo eater's teeth. I really like that touch. Now, the chocobo eater hits very hard. However, he is vulnerable to darkness, and that makes Waka a valuable member because he can use his darkness attack. Also, if you use Power Break against the Chocobo Eater, if he hits you, it won't be as hard. Also, he is armored, so Auron having his piercing ability will come in handy. He is also weak against fire, so Lulu is a very big help, and by very big, I mean extremely big, much like her boobs.
So, we're to be pushed off a cliff.
And this is the special losing condition. If he manages to push you off the cliff, you lose and all of the chocobos get eaten, and there's a special prize for not getting the chocobos eaten. Haste comes in handy because you get to move twice as much times. This is a very handy thing to come in this boss fight because he can knock you off this cliff. However, if you manage to knock him down and push him back, he loses a lot of his defense and Titus is able to hurt him as much. However, I am concentrating on getting all of my team members hasted first. I really like this boss song. Oh no, I accidentally hasted Lulu again. I meant to haste Auron. That is a waste of MP, however I still have enough for one haste, so it is not a complete loss. And this is the main party that I'm going to be having for this boss fight. But however, I will bring out Waka if it loses the darkness. There is also a way to end the fight very early, and you can push him off the side of the cliff as well. However, this is very hard to do. And he can just simply push you back, as you can see. And here is Lulu's overdrive. It is known as Fury, and for the cost of casting a spell once, you can cast it as many times as you can rotate the control stick. It is a very good overdrive, and I do much enjoy it. Black magic is very useful right now. Unfortunately, it does lose some of its luster later on. And now that he is below half health, you can see that he counters physical attacks with Blizzard. It is not that dangerous, however, Auron is getting quite low on health, so I'm going to drag out Yuna. And as I said before, I don't like using the summons because they make the game far too easy. Also, you do not get to see Lulu as much. Let us power break him again because I think it has worn off by now and he is hitting very hard. And let's bring back Waka because his darkness is gone, so we should darkness him again. He is almost dead. I forget if you get a special prize for pushing him off the cliff or not. I think it just counts as an overkill. I defended with Lulu because I wanted to try and push him off the cliff and I wanted to not make as many attacks to make that possible. However, I did end up killing him normally anyway. However, that's okay. we got the blue shield, which will come in handy.
Have you an interest in renting some chocobos?
See, this is why you want to kill the chocobo eater as opposed to letting him put you off the cliff, because you get to rent a chocobo for free the first time if you manage to kill him, and chocobos, much like in the other games, allow you to move faster and avoid any random encounters. However, random encounters are important in video games, so I will probably not do that. However, there are some special prizes, so I may show off the chocobo a little bit later. And now that we did not get the special losing, I'm going to save again, and I will continue this in the next part. So long. I made him do a little dance.